Hello everyone, back to our latest vlog update. So this vlog update is going to be partly about the coronavirus and COVID-19, but only at the periphery, really, this time. So I've been vlogging quite a bit about coronavirus and COVID-19 over the past few weeks and months. And there is an aspect of coronavirus to this, and that aspect is really about the way the coronavirus is changing many aspects of our lives. And some of those aspects are temporary, and some of them could be rather permanent. And there's this particular aspect that I want to focus on for this vlog update, which is that the government is going to try to push GPs to do appointments generally and, by default online and remotely rather than face-to-face. I just want to go through this and give you my thoughts on it and then see what you think about this in the comments, because I think this is a really, really bad idea. It was okay to do it temporarily during the pandemic, but I think to try and make this a permanent fixture that most appointments with GPs are going to be done over phone or online, I think it's a really, really bad idea, and I'll tell you why I think it's a bad idea very shortly. But just say that if you're enjoying the vlog updates on the channel, then please can you like, share and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you think. Okay, so at The Guardian with this, and the headline, I'm sure you heard these headlines a couple of days ago. This was actually from the 30th of July, so it's back last week, but I haven't had time to vlog about it since it sort of became headline news. So the headline is, all GP consultations should be remote by default, says Matt Hancock, the NHS, the Health Secretary, of course. And the byline is that Royal College of GPs expressed concern, saying it would oppose a predominantly online system. So the piece begins, all GP appointments should be done remotely by default unless a patient needs to be seen in person, Matt Hancock has said, prompting doctors to warn of the risk of abandoning face-to-face consultations. In a speech setting out lessons for the NHS and care sector from the coronavirus pandemic, the Health Secretary claimed that while some errors were made, so many things went right in response to COVID-19 and new ways of working should continue. He said it was patronising to claim that older patients were not able to handle technology. The plan for web-based GP appointments is set to become formal policy and follows guidance already sent to GPs on having more online consultations. But the Royal College of GPs hit back, saying it would oppose predominantly online system on the grounds that both doctors and patients benefited from proper contact. Addressing the Royal College of Physicians in London, Hancock noted that huge increase in online consultations as much of the NHS closed its doors to focus on the crisis. In the 4 weeks to mid-April, 71% of routine GP appointments were done remotely, against 25% in the same period of the year. And so it goes on. So there's a very long article about that, and of course I haven't got time to go through the whole thing. But you get the general idea, the gist of what's going on here is that during the start of the pandemic, NHS sort of went into crisis mode, and so many aspects of the way the National Health Service changed, and many aspects of the way virtually the whole of society goes about its business changed as well. And one of the big changes that happened with the NHS was that the GPs generally stopped doing face-to-face consultations and started doing either over the phone or online consultations. And I mean, that's absolutely fine in the pandemic, in the time of the crisis. That's okay, it's not a problem. It would be better, I think, if they hadn't had to do it, but they had to do it at the time, and that's absolutely fine. And presumably as the pandemic continues, so yes, you can expect online telephone consultations to primarily continue as well. But of course, at some point, we're going to come out of this pandemic. And at that point, I think that the way GPs see their patients should primarily start defaulting back to face-to-face appointment. Now, it's absolutely fine to kind of increase online and over-phone capacity. So if people want to have their appointment online with their GP or over the phone, then that's not a problem. The capacity for the GPs to be able to do that should increase. And that's great. But I don't think that it should default to a system whereby that's like the default setup, that the way you speak to your GP is either online or over the telephone. I think the default setup should continue to be face-to-face with the patient and with the GP. And I think there are a couple of very important reasons why that is the case. The first reason is that although Hancock says that it's patronising to assume that older people can't use technology, and it is, and if older people can use technology, that's absolutely great, that's absolutely fine, and that's all to be supported. But we do have to accept that a lot of elderly people are not going to go online to speak to their GP. Somebody in their 80s or 90s is not probably very unlikely. I won't say they're not going to do it, but they're very unlikely to speak to their GP online. They are used to speaking face to face with their GP, and so for those patients, then that should continue. I'm very concerned that the elderly people are just going to be put off contacting their GPs because they don't want to. They'll assume that they're going to have to go online to have their consultation. A lot of elderly people will not even have online capacity in their homes, and they will probably just not contact the doctor when they are feeling unwell. They probably won't call up and book up. So I think that's very, very concerning that we can find elderly people kind of being left behind, and not being able to get the access to their GPs that they deserve and are entitled to. And they'll just sort of stay at home feeling unwell and may become very, very unwell, and then eventually need to call an ambulance and be taken in. So this could all have a knock-on effect, on the wider health service. If elderly people can't or don't want to contact their GPs because they think that they think they're going to be forced to do it online, and they haven't even got online capacity at their homes, then they may just not call their GPs. They may get very, very unwell in that case, and so then they might need to go to hospital. So this could all have a knock-on effect further down the system in terms of more admittance to hospital from very, very unwell and vulnerable people who have just not contacted their GP. So that's the first reason that I think this is a bad idea. The second reason, though, is that we know that there's a tendency for a lot of people to go to see their GP about one thing, but the real reason I want to see their GP is not revealed until the end of the appointment, and it's possible they would still do that over the phone or online, but to be honest, I think that's most likely not to be the case. I think somebody calls up the GP and says they want to speak to their doctor about something minor, because they're going to have to go through the receptionist first, of course. The receptionist will be the one sort of filtering out whether a patient needs to see a GP face-to-face or whether they should just have online or telephone consultation, and it'll be the receptionist doing that. And of course, that's a big burden to place on the receptionist as well, and some people will also be put off about having to explain why they want to speak to their GP to the receptionist over the phone. So if you want to speak to your GP about something very personal, for example, who will anybody want to do that? Go for a receptionist first. So that's another reason, slightly more minor point, but it is another factor to consider, that there's going to be receptionists filtering this, and how many people are going to want to explain to the receptionist why they want to speak to their GP, why they want to see their GP, particularly if it's something personal. But let's say you call up your GP, and so you tell the receptionist that you want to have a consultation with your GP about something something minor, let's say it's about bunions or warts or something like that. So the GP will then call you back on the phone, or you have your online consultation. But behind that, the real reason that you want to speak to your GP is actually that you found a lump somewhere. You found a lump somewhere in your body, but you are reluctant to bring that to the fore. But within the appointment itself, you probably would have brought that to the fore if you were speaking face to face with your doctor. So you would have gone through the initial thing that you'd rung up about, and then as you stand up and go to the door, you would say, hang on a minute, doctor, there's just one more thing I want to speak about. That happens actually a surprising amount of the time. Doctors, GPs report that happens a huge amount of the time, that a patient will go to see their GP about one thing, usually quite a minor issue, but then just as they're about to leave the GP's consulting room, they'll go to open the door and they'll stop and they'll say, actually, doctor, can you just check this for me? And then the doctor gets to the real point of the consultation, what the patient really wants to speak about with their doctor. And I'm not sure why people tend to do that, but everybody, it's a very, very common thing that GPs report, that is something that happens, that a patient will go for one thing, but the much more significant issue will then be brought out just as the patient is about to leave the consultation room. Now, it's possible that people will still do that online and over the phone. So before they disconnect the Skype connection, they will say, actually, doctor, I want to talk to you about this. Or before they put the phone down, they'll say, actually, doctor, I want to talk about this. But I think that's much more likely to happen face to face. And the reason that primarily a lot of these issues are going to be needing examinations of the patient. A lot of these very significant issues that the patient wants to bring to the fore are probably going to involve examinations. And so they want their examination there while they are with their doctor. Now, of course, if you're online or over the phone, you're not going to be able to have that examination with the doctor. So I think it's much more likely that if the patient's got a lump, and they would have revealed that at the end of their face-to-face appointment, I think it's much more likely that they will not do that over the phone or online. So I think it could have very significant impacts actually on people becoming very, very seriously unwell with life-threatening conditions, not being caught in their earliest stages, and I just think it's a very, very bad idea. I think it also kind of breaks the connection between the doctor and the patient, and the NHS has been moving away from that quite a lot over recent years anyway. I don't think patients are now assigned a specific doctor within a GP practice like they used to be. So like 5-10 years ago, every patient knew who their doctor was, but now a patient will very rarely see the same doctor continuously, and so I mean that's just a different way of working. But I think all these things have a knock-on effect to to weaken and also to break the connection, the bond between the doctor and between their patients. So I think this is a very, very bad idea for several reasons. I think elderly and vulnerable people could be put off contacting their GPs. I think people who want to see their doctors about something relatively trivial, but behind that there's a much more significant issue going on that they will bring to the fore within a face-to-face consultation, are less likely to do that over the phone and online. And I think it just weakens the connection between doctors and patients, and it places receptionists as well in an unenviable position because they're the ones who are going to screen everybody, and they're the ones who are responsible for deciding whether a patient should have the default consultation, which is over the phone or online, or whether they should have that face-to-face meeting. And some people are going to be put off telling the receptionist why they want their appointment as well. So I think all of this was okay during the pandemic. It's okay now, as we're still in the pandemic. But I think as we come out of the pandemic, hopefully by next year, things will be getting a lot better. You would hope. Hopefully we'll have a vaccine or something. But I don't think this is something that should be a continuous, I don't think this is something that should be a continuous policy. I think it's okay during the crisis, and after that, yes, increase online capacity for those patients that want it. I mean, personally, I probably would do an online consultation with my GP, because I'm very used to the online setup. So if I wanted to speak to a GP about something quite trivial, then yes, I would probably do it online. But I know that more elderly age groups are going to be quite put off about doing that, and they would much prefer to speak to their GP face to face, because what they're used to, what they had all of their lives, and I think that for those age groups it should continue. And yes, increase capacity online and over the phone for those that want it. That's fine. It's not a problem at all. And maybe as time goes by, gradually increase this. So, but perhaps in like 20, 30 years, it might be the default. But I think to do it so abruptly and to make this like the default just overnight kind of thing, on the back of the pandemic is just a really, really bad idea. And I think, we'll see quite a lot of implications from this going forwards. But maybe I've got this wrong. Let me know in the comments what you think. Would you prefer to have your appointment with your GP online, or would you prefer to do it face to face? And do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea? Let me know in the comments what you think. And yeah, we're back with more vlogs very, very soon. But it is remarkable the way that the coronavirus is changing everything. The coronavirus changed so many aspects of our lives and continues to do so, and this is just another one of those aspects that COVID-19 has changed. So some of the changes are going to be good, some of the changes will benefit people, I think, but other changes are going to be quite bad and quite harmful. Personally, I think this is a very, very bad one, but let me know in the comments what you think, and we'll be back with more vlog updates very, very soon. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll be vlogging again very soon. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.